on our way down, we started like hearing this noise from definitely from like a distance, and like, what is going on? It was like some guy. It was like, I can't even like repeat some of the things. It was like, it was not English. It was like, yo, brother, let's go, or something like that. Like, so
he was yelling at his dog Roscoe.
Yeah.
He was like, Roscoe, go!
And he was playing like 90s EDM or something, like European pop something. It was fun. It sounded fun. Well, he got close to us. It was warm, but it's still winter. We had like our coats and jackets on. This guy, he was like in his underwear.
What do you do when you come out as LGBTQ and love the outdoors? What do you do when you see the outdoor space ruled by older white cis men and desire a diverse community of outdoor lovers? Accept it, change it, create it. I am Justin Yoder, and this is LGBT Outdoors. What's up, everyone? I am Justin Yoder, your host for LGBT Outdoors. We're excited you're tuning in again this week. We've got another great episode for you, and I think you're going to get, if nothing else, a lot of entertainment out of this episode. And I think some educational factors as well. So it'll be great. So I got two co-hosts with me again this week. My husband, Patrick Thompson.
Hello.
And JC Ranton.
Hey.
I was waiting for it.
There is no right way of doing this.
There's no right way. There's no wrong way.
Just kidding.
And then we're going ahead and we're going to bring in our guest this week because he is part of our leadership with LGBT Outdoors, and that is Josh McNabb, and he is our store manager.
Hey, everyone.
So we brought Josh on right away. We normally do a little cut up and have some fun and see what everybody's been up to, and so we brought him in. I hear there's an interesting little story with JC and Josh this week that happened, I believe.
All right, so what is it? It's at the time of recording, like right now, it's the beginning of February. So it's still the middle of winter, but I figured it was still warm enough like for us to go on a hike. Josh, by the way, he moved, he and his partner Reese moved from Texas to Colorado, so we can now claim them as our part of our Colorado chapter.
Yay for them, but boo for us.
This weekend we went to Bear Peak. It's one of the it's one of the most popular hikes in Boulder, and it was actually kind of funny because the night before the hike, he was asking me questions about the trail. And he was like, "Yeah, it's Bear Peak. That's the one I want." Like I was like, "Yeah, this is like where a lot of the trails are." And he wanted to do Bear Peak, and I was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to Bear Peak." And so we just met up.
It was totally random.
So random.
I was literally like cooking dinner, trying to find it on all trails, and I could not remember what the name of the trail was. And I text JC and I was like, "Hey, what's the peak in Boulder?" And he's like, "Bear Peak." I'm like, "Sweet, I'm going tomorrow." He's like, "Me too."
Oh, nice.
So it just was total random, but it worked out. It was fun.
But anyways, like the hike was good. I mean, it was kind of tough. As we got closer to the top, it got even like it got more snowy, and it was fine. Like we got there, and then we turned around, and on our way down, we started like hearing this noise definitely from like a distance, and like, what is going on? It was like some guy. It was like, I can't even like repeat some of the things. It was like, it was not English. It was like, yo, brother, let's go, or something like that. Like, so
he was yelling at his dog Roscoe.
Yeah.
He was like, Roscoe, go!
And he was playing like 90s EDM or something, like European pop something. It was fun. It sounded fun. Well, he got close to us. This guy was literally, I mean, it was warm, but it's still winter. We had like our coats and jackets on. This guy, he was like in his underwear. And there's like snow on the ground. It was like so out of place. And we were just kind of getting a kick out of this because this guy's like, he just came and he was like so energetic. I love the energy. He was kind of freaking everybody out because he was so loud and very like this guy was like passionate about this hike. I mean, I'm passionate about my hikes. This guy had passion. And I was just like, damn. But anyways, he passed us like once and I'm like, okay, well, that was interesting. And then on our way down, we heard the sound again. And it was like, yo, brother, let's go. Yo, like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, it's happening again. And it's the same guy who was like, I'm going to do it again. This is like a hard hike. So he's like beasting it. And then, I don't know, it was just really unusual. But I think...
Well, and before we even got to the bottom, he came back and started passing us again. It was a 7-mile hike. So... the fact that he ran past us at the top, ran past us going down, and before we got to the bottom, he was crossing us again, still with the same energy. It was just, it was out of this.
Colorado, well, you all are special breeds out there. That's all I know. I saw your Instagram.
Hang out in the mountains enough. No, say it. What?
I was just gonna say that I saw your or both of your Instagram story about it, and it was like beautiful, looked amazing, and then JC's face looks all strange, and I'm like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden this guy comes bouncing down the mountain screaming all this nonsense. I couldn't even understand what he was saying, but that's part of the fun of the outdoors. You never know what you're going to come across.
Very true. You never know. So get back out there. You don't know what interesting situations you might run into.
Right. Come up with some campfire conversation episode stories for us. That'd be fun. But yeah, well, that sounds interesting. I don't have anything interesting to share this week. That's for sure. It's been pretty quiet. We were iced in for 4 or 5 days while Patrick was out of town. So that was interesting.
I was iced out.
I saw pictures of that. That looked unusual too. Like just to see snow. But you say it wasn't snow. It was ice.
It was all ice though. It looked like it was snow, but it was all ice. Yeah. Crazy. But anyways, hopefully by the time this is airing, it's starting to warm up and we can be thinking about spring.
Yeah,
I am ready for it.
I love my winter. Like it, especially, getting a weekend of snow, or ice, even though I miss it this year. But yeah, I think don't hold this against me, Justin, but I think I'm ready for it to warm up.
No, I'm all right. I'm on board with you on that. I'm always ready for it to warm up. Unless we move to Colorado one day, then I think I'll be more okay with the cold because I just got to accept it. But we'll see. But anyways, let's dive in with our guest because he's got a lot of great things to share, and I'm excited about this. So, funny story before we kick this all off with Josh. Josh lives in Colorado now. We live in Texas. We knew each other when we both lived in Dallas. We never met before he moved to Colorado because he was always so busy with his work that we never got to see him, never got to hang out, never got to do anything with LGBT Outdoors. And now he moves halfway across the country, and I see him more often than when he lived here in Texas. And he's doing more with LGBT Outdoors now that he lives out there.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that exactly. You move farther away, and I see you more, but it worked out, I guess. So, yeah, you're enjoying it, Colorado so far.
Something about the mountain life.
I guess so.
Yeah, no, it's best decision. Mountain life and lack of oxygen. Something must have happened.
Something worked out along there.
It's just kicked.
But Josh
in.
is our store manager. What's that?
It just kicked in
What'd
as
you
soon
say,
as you
Jason?
got here.
Oh yeah, right. Josh is our store manager, online store. So he helps develop a lot of our products, t-shirt designs, and we have some great things that are taking place. Over the next couple of weeks, he's going to be really transforming the store, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with it. But Josh grew up here in Texas, loves the outdoors, obviously, and he's just been a really great asset to our team. And yeah, I think you're going to get a lot of interesting things from him, and hopefully some knowledge and wisdom and inspiration for you all to get outside. So to kick this all off, Josh, tell us about you. Who is Josh McNabb? Tell us about where you grew up, how you got involved with outdoors.
Well, like Justin said, my name is Josh McNabb. I am from a small town in northeast Texas called Paris, Texas, about an hour and a half northeast of Dallas. And yeah, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I grew up on a small back road in the country. Our house was surrounded by trees, big ponds, and my family, we spent all of our extra time and vacations at the lake camping. And that was always my fondest memories. And the most exciting times as a kid was getting outdoors, going fishing, going camping. And it just kind of seemed what life revolved around, our spare time. And so it has just kind of correlated and has been a big part of my life ever since.
That's awesome. So what age did you start getting involved with the outdoors, and what was the first things that you did that really started getting you hooked?
Oh gosh, I honestly don't even remember whenever it all started. I was so little. I have some of the, my favorite childhood memories is my parents had this little old bumper pull camper that had like a little shower toilet combo room, and I actually own a camper now, and it reminds me so much of my childhood camper. It's kind of very it's cool. It brings back a lot of memories, but one of the fondest memories is being in Broken Bow with my parents, and my mom bought the popcorn that comes in the tin foil pan, and she burnt the popcorn, and I just remember like how cool it was, like watching it being popped, and it like, stunk up the camper or whatever. But that's just like one of the oldest memories that I have. But, we spent a lot of time, my dad, my granddad, they had boats, and we would run trot lines to catch catfish. And my dad loves crappie fishing, and I loved bass fishing forever. And then that turned into fly fishing when I was 17. I've been fly fishing since I was 17, and camping, and ever since then. And to this day, if I can find a weekend to get away where I can go backpack or take the camper out and go fish, go hike, that's what I'm always looking for.
That's awesome. I love the diversity that you bring as far as everything that you like, because a lot of times it seems like when people get involved in the outdoors, they find that one thing that they are really passionate about, which is great and awesome. But it just seems like with you, that's been this journey of learning about fishing and camping and backpacking and just hiking and all these different things that you really enjoy doing. And it's a wealth of information that I really enjoy. Before we go down the road of some of those details, you have a really cool, I guess. I mean, some challenging too, but coming out story. There's an aspect in it that I really like that ties into LGBT outdoors.
Yeah.
But share with us what you're comfortable with sharing about your coming out story, because I think that it could be helpful and beneficial to other people that might be listening that were in the same shoes, because you also came out fairly recently.
Yeah. I was 18. I'm 31 now. I was 18 when I came out, and I graduated high school, moved off to college, and became a 911 dispatcher, and I was a firefighter. And I came out to my family, and it was a rough go. I come from a very conservative religious family, and it was a rough go at first. And, I was very country, very outdoorsy at the time. And just, there was a lot that I didn't know and a lot that I had to learn along the way. And I kind of lost myself on that journey of trying to find myself, if you will. Kind of ironic how we will go through some wild stuff to figure out who we really are. But at the end of the day, we go right back to where we started. And so I kind of lost a lot of that passion for the outdoors in my early 20s. My early 20s were rough. Moving around, went to hair school. I failed to mention that earlier. I'm a hairstylist. I've been doing hair for 10 years now. I'm currently a hairstylist here in Denver. And I would say that I've always been someone that never fit in a box. And I know a lot of times people try to put you in a box to fit this diagram, if you will. And I think that a lot of times in the LGBTQ community, a lot of times are being forced into a box, and we're always trying to not be forced in that box. And you say you're a part of the LGBTQ community, and sometimes people automatically assume one thing. And as you're coming out, you're trying to figure out what crowd you're a part of and who you are. And, the outdoors was not something I didn't think was a part of that community. And I think that's something that we kind of all have in common. And we all love the outdoors, but didn't find a place. And I think that's kind of cool where you started this. So, but yeah, in my early 20s, it was rough. And, I played golf and I fished and I hiked and I camped, and that all just kind of went to the back burner for quite a while. And I would say it was towards my late 20s that I started kind of discovering more like who I am, or rediscovering who I am, and going back to my roots and what made me happy and what was grounding for me and what brought peace to my soul. And that was being outdoors, being outside. Whether I was just sitting beside a lake, fishing, camping, doing something. So, I started bringing the outdoors back into my life more in my late 20s. And I would even say, like, with the dynamic of my family, it's kind of what brought us back together. I remember in 2020 during the pandemic, I was getting outside. I was spending as much time outside as I possibly could. That's what was bringing me the most joy during that, scary, stressful time. And I was going fishing, going camping, running away, hiding in the mountains, if you will, to be away from life and reality. And I remember towards the end of the whole shutdown, my family and we spent a week out on the lake, and it was just like one of the best memories I have in the last 10 years with my family, of getting to reconnect and, going fishing with my dad and having that one-on-one time, and, having time with my mom, my sister, had my dogs with me. And, it was a lot of fun. But through that, during my late 20s and rediscovering this myself, I had this vision, or if you will, of this tattoo, and I have it now on my arm. I have a half sleeve on my right arm. It's the lower half. And I had this vision of like mountains and trees and a full moon, and gives light, and a wolf gives strength, a compass for direction. But the trees and the mountains is like where my soul wanted to be. And before I ever even went to Colorado, I knew Colorado was home. Like, I knew that's where I wanted to go. And so now being here is just kind of like full circle, and I've never been such at peace, which is awesome. But yeah, I had this vision for this tattoo and found the guy that did the style I liked. And I was laying there on his table one day, and you're sitting there for 4 hours getting your arm tattooed. And there's everything going through your mind, thinking about all kinds of stuff, hanging out on social media. And I remember, like, where I'd come to at that point, I was hiking more, I was backpacking, I was camping, I was fly fishing all the time. And I was like, I wonder if there's any other guys out there, girls, or anyone that identifies in the LGBTQ community that also like to fly fish. And I remember that specifically is where it started, was fly fishing. And I was just like, honestly, going through hashtags, and I typed in LGBT outdoors, and that's when this Instagram page came up, and I opened it, and I was like, holy crap, there's actually a group here in Dallas, well, at the time, that is just like-minded individuals that's trying to group this community together with those of us that love the outdoors. And that's kind of like when I found, or that is when I found LGBT Outdoors, this group. And I knew then like I wanted to be a bigger part of the picture and get the word out there and lead, these individuals, because I have all this experience growing up and being a part of the outdoors, camping, fishing, and I wanted to be able to share it. So that's a kind of a long, in-depth me coming out and full circle coming back to how I found this group.
That's absolutely like just mind blowing. The timing of how that worked out, very serendipitous. Like some really like big moments that coincided together. It was really cool. I like what you said at the beginning about not fitting into these particular boxes. And that's one of the things that I really like about what we're doing at LGBT Outdoors is, that there's this weird stereotype about the LGBT community that we're somehow weaker than our heteronormative counterparts. But being an outdoors person generally requires strength and determination and drive. I like the fact that we're able to, kind of pop some of those stereotypes along the way, like helping sort of break out of that box that people put us in. So thanks for sharing all that. It's really cool.
And I think for me, like that resonated to me too about what you said with the same thing with like trying to fit in a box and hoping that, to be, once you've realized like, okay, you're part of this larger community of, LGBTQ plus family that you'd fit in. But at the same time, it's like you have you yourself, like your own individual. I think we all are different. I love the group because it brings us all together for our love of the outdoors. But at the same time, it's like we all get to appreciate our differences, because I think without this love that we have for being outside and using that to like heal ourselves, like there's no other like outlet. There's no like other type of way that we would be able to like come together the way that we do.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. I first of all have to just comment on this because I think that it's amazing that you're laying there on a tattoo table, getting a tattoo of an outdoors scene, and
He's committed.
Search a hashtag and find us, and now you're connected. What's that?
He's committed with the outdoors. If you're putting it on your arm permanently.
Yeah, just to be clear. Yeah. Let's all go get LGBT outdoor logo tattoos, right? Maybe not, but we'll find out who's really dedicated to the cause. But no, I mean that's what we are all about.
I don't think I could sit there on a tattoo table and scroll. I mean, like I've got like 4 tattoos, but all of them are smaller. But I'm just so like tranced out, I guess, and like fixated on what they're doing and making sure that they're doing it right. I don't know if I could sit there and scroll through Instagram.
I mean,
what's crazy is like in the first hour I was on Instagram and I probably took like an hour and a half, 2-hour nap after that. And everyone thinks it's like wild, but for what like and I had 3 sessions to get this arm done, and every single time there was at least an hour nap in there somewhere. And like,
holy
you're
cow.
in and out obviously, but it, as earlier when you started this episode, you were talking about how much I worked, and that's like, no one liked going to the movies with me because I always fell asleep in the movies. No one like anything that ever, when I slowed down, like I didn't stop. Like I woke up, I still to this day, I wake up at 4:30 every morning. I go to the gym, I go home, I eat breakfast, I get ready. I go to the salon, I work all day, I go home, I make dinner, I take care of the dogs, I go to bed, and then I'm asleep. And that's just like my life. As I'm up, I go, I hit the bed, and I'm out. So like in those moments of laying there, I was just like zen and gone.
Wow.
And
You know,
with needles.
but actually,
with
it is a
Literally.
very weird sensation, because I've had some long tattoo sessions where it's very painful in the beginning because your body's just acclimating, but
Mhm.
it at some point it does start feeling numb. You still feel the pain, but it's less.
Mhm.
And sometimes
Yeah.
you get to a point where it's actually like it's an enjoyable feeling. I've only felt that when I did like a 6-hour session. That was the longest. But yeah, I watch Netflix when because you're just there for hours. I download
Yeah.
shows on my phone, and then I
Yeah.
catch up on binge some shows.
Right on.
I know it's weird.
So, circling back around to the outdoors. Josh, tell us about your car camping, because I know that you built a. How would you word that exactly? You built a car camper?
Yeah, it's a modular car camper. There was a moment when I started watching different guys on YouTube that, especially it was during 2020, during the pandemic. I was ready to buy a Sprinter van, build it out, and hit the road. Like I was ready to live the nomadic life, and was not reasonable for me. So, next best thing is I realized that people would do this out of their car, and they would take vacations doing it, or just like weekend getaways. And I came across a couple of different individuals that one built out the back of his truck and one built out the back of his Subaru. The guy that made the one in the Subaru, he's actually a firefighter here in Colorado. And so he, would spend the weekends up in the mountains and would go cross country skiing and whatnot. Anyway, he showed the entire build out, like how he did it step by step. And I took that and I got in the car and I did a bunch of measuring and made a blueprint, sent it to my dad and said, here's my idea. And I drove up to Paris one weekend, and we spent the day. We went to this lumber yard, grabbed the lumber, went back to the house, and spent all afternoon in the shop building it and putting it together. And so, yeah, it's like I said, it's modular. So it's got like a base platform that slides into the back of the car and has a couple tables that pull out from it. I use those to cook on and, get gear ready and fix things or whatever, set up the iPad to watch movies and all that jazz. And the platform's also like what you sleep on. But then I have like a storage compartment, like a box, if you will, that's mounted to it that has a drawer that holds all of the kitchen gear. I have like a Jetboil single burner stovetop. I've got Jetboil, the fast boil mug. I've got, the cooking utensils, and then there's a couple different compartments for tools, a Jackery battery pack, clothes, gear, and then there's a spot where I have a 12-volt refrigerator, is what they're called, but it's like it looks like a cooler, like a normal igloo type cooler. That's like a third of it is a motor, and then the other 2/3 is an empty cooler, and it refrigerates itself.
Oh,
and
cool.
So I keep that in the car, and it runs off the Jackery, and I have like a solar panel for the Jackery. So during the day, while it's stationary, it helps keep it charged. Also, the car charges it, and then the refrigerator only runs ever so often. But it's my way of having power to charge my phone, charge my iPad, so I can watch Netflix at night, laying in bed, staying out of the way of mountain lions and things. But yeah,
You guys used it a lot, like on the weekends and stuff?
when I was in Texas, I used it more. I honestly don't have it in Colorado yet. It's in the works of getting here. My camper and my car camper will be in Colorado next month, and I'm super excited to get them here. But it really is only set up for one person. is the way I built it. So just like me and my dog, my mini Labradoodle, and I'll take it just for like the weekend to go up to Oklahoma to go fly fishing. It's easy to, pull everything out, throw everything in, and move around. Unlike having an RV or van or camper, you have to close everything down and stow everything away before you can move. It being out of your car, it's super easy.
Nice.
Did you guys learn everything that you needed to know, like off of YouTube?
I got a lot of information off there. Just like first off, just like the blueprints of just like how they built it. But then they also talked about like tools like coffee. Like I love coffee.
Yeah.
So just seeing like portable coffee grinders that like I use for backpacking now too. I throw it in the camper. But it's just like this little guy that will grind the beans and have the jet boil, using the jet boil to heat up water to make your coffee, and then having the single burner jet boil stovetop to be able to cook off of. It just like you realize quickly what you need and what you don't need, especially once you get out there. I think I spent a little too much money and bought a few too many things thinking I need all this extra stuff, and you learn fast what's a necessity and what's not.
So what's something that you bought but you didn't need? Like, help save me some money here.
I have like 3 jet boils, and I think it's just it's like you only need one. I have like different sizes. I would say I'm just like excess on that. I bought a portable shower, which in some cases can be convenient. In other cases, it's like absolutely not necessary. So I think that's probably one of the biggest ones that I spent like $200 or $300 on this portable shower and a tent and all that was just like extra gear that at the end of the day, you can use like some wipes or something to clean up. Like if you're backpacking, kind of the same thing. Or typically where I go, they may have a shower house that you can use. Then like, like plates and just like all the utensils and stuff that you think in cups and all that jazz, just like just extra, that takes up a lot of space.
Nice. Good to know.
Actually, I don't know, just thinking in my head, like I want to know what like if I went on like a backpacking trip if like we went on a backpacking trip and you just like out of your backpack, you just took like a portable shower. We're gonna be like, we know who's extra.
You've heard me talk about how awesome LGBT Outdoor Fest is, and now I want to tell you about our home for LGBT Outdoor Fest, Rainbow Ranch. Located in Groesbeck, Texas, just a short drive from Dallas or Austin, and on the edge of Lake Limestone, Rainbow Ranch is the largest LGBTQ+ campground in Texas. They have been named Best Weekend Getaway by the Dallas Voice for 9 years. With nearly 700 acres to explore, there's hiking and bike trails, fishing, canoes, sand volleyball, and even a pool to relax in. Whether you're wanting to camp under the stars or stay in the cabin, the friendly staff at Rainbow Ranch has you covered. They've got primitive campsites with power and water, large cabins, small cabins, RV spots, an apartment, and even a house that can sleep up to 14 people. We've been out to Rainbow Ranch a handful of times to camp with friends and enjoy some special event weekends, and it's always a great time. For more information on their special events and accommodations, you can make your reservation at rainbowranch.net. So if you're wanting to unplug and recharge or explore and let loose, head on over to Rainbow Ranch.
The portable shower is like, it's actually it's not that small. Like it definitely does not fit in a backpack. It's kind of bulky. That's why it's kind of a little too much to have. But bringing up the fact of backpacking, like I would say with car camping, the best advice or best information that I kind of came across and figured out was that if you use it for backpacking, it's the best to use for car camping because it's compact, it's lightweight, it's small. And so it's easy to stow away. And so anything that you would use for backpacking is like perfect for car camping.
Nice. Good tip.
That's really cool. I was thinking if you're spending $200 or $300 on a portable shower, I hope it comes with a hot water heater as well.
Yeah, they actually make them that way. The one I have,
Do they really?
So like they have, it takes like 20 minutes for it to heat the water up, but you literally just pour the water in, flip the switch, and it will heat itself. I didn't go with that one. The one I use the jet boil, and you boil a liter of water, and then you put like 2 liters in the tank, and then you pour a liter of boiling water into it, and it makes it the quote unquote perfect 96 degrees. And then it's got basically sponges that attach to it. So it's like taking a sponge bath. So it's not really like a luxury shower, but you know, it gets you cleaned up.
I'm picturing one of these car washes with
That's really fancy
things sticking off of it that you just run through. We need to do an episode just on fun camping gadgets. I think that would be interesting.
Hey, I could bring.
Oh, I would be. Down
I could
for
bring
that.
a carload of gadgets. That is literally my middle name. Like I will spend my REI. What do they call the funds you get every year for being a member?
The dividends.
The dividends. I always like save that up and buy it on like some gadget that I won't spend my own money on. And so that's how I've gotten some of these things.
Well, it makes it fun.
For me, oh my God, I got into hiking because I thought everything else, like every other like wilderness activity, anything in the outdoors, like cost money, because like if you want to get into kayaking, well, you have to buy the kayak. At the time when I started, I was like a cheapskate. So I'm like, well, walking in the woods is free. So I'm just going to go. But like over the years, you just find like you need, like a lot of people have camelbacks because it's nice. And then there's like hiking shoes. And then you have to get different types of clothes for it, for hiking. Just, it all adds up. But I love gear now. My wallet doesn't.
It can become expensive for sure, but like at the same time, like you said, like there's different entry levels, I guess you will, that you could get into different things without having to break the bank, depending on your budget.
True,
but
true.
Don't let anything like be a barrier to getting outside. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you know, when I was like going through this journey, the last 5 years, 5 to 7 years of rediscovering my love of the outdoors and getting outdoors, you know, and I didn't have all the gear at that time, and I was having to buy everything that I needed to go camping and go fishing. And I found that Amazon is a really good resource for a lot of stuff. Like they have like a knockoff jet boil. They've got actually pretty decent like outdoor clothing to keep you warm, like jackets, like rain gear and stuff like that, which is really nice because that kind of stuff can get really expensive quickly. And Walmart's even a good option to go to for like a tent and a cook stove and a backpack and hiking poles and just, you know, some of the necessities that you would want to get started with. You don't have to go and spend all your paycheck at REI, but we love REI, so it's kind of hard not to.
Right. But you know what? Like, I actually like recently over the last few years, I've noticed like Costco has expanded a lot on the outdoors too. Like outdoor yak tracks, you can get snowshoes.
The paddle boards. When I went out to Colorado,
the paddle boards.
Guys, like I show up to this event with you guys doing this paddleboard event, and like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I got my paddleboard at Costco." Yeah. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, you know, and especially out here, and like in the summertime, they'll have like a pallet of bear spray. It's just like, you know, it's obviously for the areas you're living in, but in the last couple of years, like you're right, JC, Costco's come a long way, and they've upped their game with the gear.
That's really cool.
I actually have a tent from REI that I've had for like 5 years now, and it's a Coleman tent, and it's still trucking along. It's still in great shape.
Gotta love Coleman, built to last. or at least it was. I haven't used any of their stuff in a long time, but like I remember as a kid, that's what we used all the time, and it just seemed like it was really quality. But Josh, you also love backpacking. When did you get into backpacking, and how? What gave you that desire?
Again, it was back over the last 5 to 7 years when during this like new journey of I was on, and it was just a dream, it was a desire. I started seeing the Pacific Northwest trails, the Colorado trails, these people that were going hundreds if not thousands of miles on these trails backpacking, and I just thought, man, that's so cool. I don't really have the opportunity to go that long, but for a couple nights, or even be able to take a week off of work to go for a few days, it was just more of like a desire. And so just with time, I got stuff like it's through Amazon, at REI, I got my backpack and figured out what kind of gear I needed, just did a bunch of research and just did it. I started off going to like a local lake where I knew the area, just in case, just to feel comfortable, get the gear out, use it, and see what it was like, getting it in and out of the pack. Again, figuring out what was necessary and what was not, because having over 60 pounds on your back is not a fun thing to do when you're hiking miles and miles and miles.
Nope.
But yeah, so from there, I started going to the Ozarks, and in Oklahoma and through Arkansas. And that's where I've spent the majority of my backpacking has been there. And for me, it's just like getting out and being alone in nature. Cell service is non-existent. It's just you, it's just the trees, it's the wind, it's the water. And I think it's a great like self-discovery opportunity. I think, and I've done it. I've backpacked the Grand Canyon. I've backpacked in Sedona.
Oh, wow.
I've done a little bit in Colorado, and those were amazing too. And I did those with my partner Reese. But I think my favorite times have been going alone and just getting quiet in nature.
Love that. If I remember right, there's a fun story with the Grand Canyon.
Oh yes. So yeah, growing up, going to state parks and going to like the local lakes in Texas, you pay for a campsite. Little did I know, when you go to a national park, you have to have a permit. And we made it to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, which is like I can't remember off the top of my head, but something like a 5,000 to 7,000 feet descent down into the canyon. It took us about 4.5 hours to get down there. You have to have a permit to sleep down there. And we made it all the way down to Phantom Ranch. And when I realized we needed a permit, I went up to the ranger's house and I knocked on the door thinking, well, maybe they'll let me buy one. Well, this lady comes out, this park ranger comes out, and I think she had a rough day, and she chewed me out up one side and down the other, and made it very clear that was not how things worked. And so I told her, well, sorry, didn't mean to upset you. We'll turn around and we'll go back out. And she said, no, let me just get your information and we'll get you a permit. It'll be fine. There's plenty of spots to stay. Just leave in the morning and get out of here. And once you get out, well, you should have an email to pay for it. And I said, okay, sounds good. Well, we go set up camp, take a shower, eat dinner, and all of a sudden here she comes and sits down at our picnic table and wants to like sit there and shoot the bull and eat dinner with us. And I'm like, ma'am, you literally were my enemy an hour ago, and now you want to be my best friend. I was like, okay. Well, little did I know the bipolar side of her. So we get up the next morning at 6, 7 o'clock, hike out. We get in the car around 1 o'clock in the afternoon and leave the Grand Canyon and head to Durango. Well, I was driving that, I think it was like a 13-hour drive or something like that. Well, by the time we got to where we were going, we crashed. the next morning I saw the email. So I called the office to take care of my permit to pay for it. And mind you, it's only like a $26, $27 permit for that one night. And when I called the lady, as soon as I said, "Hi, my name is Josh McNabb," she said, "Oh, I've been expecting you to call." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she said, "Miss so-and-so," I won't say her name, who's the park ranger, said that if you didn't call by the end of the day, she was going to press federal charges against you. And I don't remember what class it was, but it was a legit felony for not having a permit or taking care of it. And I was going to have to appear in federal court. And so like, there was just so much drama between like her bipolar attitude towards me and just like trying to go down on a nice little hike. It turned into a lot more. So
wait, but she offered to get you to give you the permit the night before, but like she was like, if you don't pay it at a certain time.
Well, she didn't tell me that. Like, she was just like, well, when you get out of, you should have an email tomorrow. When you get out of here, take care of it. Well, if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon or anywhere in that area, there is not much cell service. I mean, it is literally in the middle of nowhere. And so, you know, and then we were driving. So I didn't take care of it that day that we hiked out. But I took care of it the very next morning, or I think it was lunchtime the next day, but still I took care of it within, 24, 48 hours of getting out of the canyon. And she was locked and loaded. She was ready.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Sheesh.
But yet she wanted some of your food.
I'm not lying. She was like, well, what are y'all eating? What kind of snacks did y'all bring down here? And I just like looked at her. I'm like, what in the world?
You never know what kind of experiences you have in the great outdoors. That's for sure.
But on another note, just like talking about all the trips that we've been talking about for LGBT Outdoors and planning national parks, that would be a fun one because Phantom Ranch was a really cool experience. You can either backpack to it or you can ride mules down. And then they have these cabins that were built like over 100 years ago down there. And I think they have to use like helicopters to get like big, like the equipment and stuff down there, but they use the mules, and there's like a pack of mules that go down every morning and a pack of mules that come out every day. And they take down all the food and all the supplies on these pack mules. And so I think that's kind of cool to see and experience.
Oh, wow.
Is that just like riding a horse?
Yeah. Yeah, you can ride them down or you can hike down to it. But it's like on a lotto. So you have to, sign up on a lotto to stay in the cabins. But there's like actually a beach there on the Colorado River that runs through the Grand Canyon. So you can swim, and there's all kinds of stuff to do down there.
It sounds cool.
JC, that sounds fun, right? Riding a horse?
Oh, why? Why? Because you know my opinion. I've never ridden a horse. But I could do a mule.
You could do a mule, but you don't want to do a horse. Okay. That's funny.
Imagine just like I'll just roll up in Grand Canyon on a mule with my portable shower.
No, when we did LGBT Outdoor Fest in Colorado, some of us stayed out there a few extra days and went horseback riding in Rocky Mountain National Park, which was incredible. JC was not too sure about him being on board for that. And I forget why. You had to go back to Denver or something, so you didn't do it. But it was amazing.
Yeah, because I had work. I was on vacation. No, that's a lame excuse. I guess I would have gone. It was like you guys went on a Sunday, right? That was the day like everyone was headed back. I think you went on a Sunday.
No, I think we went Monday.
On Monday?
Yeah, I had to work too.
Yeah.
I would have loved to make it, Justin, but I had to work.
Right.
No, I would try it, but
yeah, you need to try it. We're going to do it again sometime when we come back out to Colorado. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. That was one of the coolest experiences. Like, really.
So that should be this summer.
Summer for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
I think you and Patrick need to make. Yeah, you and Patrick just need to make like an annual trip up here so that we can do all the fun stuff outside.
I support it.
Looks like we don't have any option now. We've got to go.
We're waiting for you.
You could just move here and be a part every weekend.
Right. What was the last episode? What was the Patrick Thompson quote in there? Just do it, or stop making excuses, and you just need to do it.
Oh yeah.
I think I might have deleted that episode. I have no record of it.
Right. Hey Josh, if somebody is listening to this episode and they're like, these sounds like cool things that I've never done before, what are some practical steps for somebody to learn about maybe car camping or backpacking or fly fishing? I know that you learned some of it from YouTube, but other than directing them, go search YouTube, because that can be hit or miss. What would you say are some practical steps to learn how to do some of these things, rather than it just being like, oh, I want to do that one day, or I want to learn how to do that someday, and keep putting it off? What are these things that they could do to start putting feet to these ideas?
Well, I would say to be on brand, to look for a local event, because I think we've got lots of events going on that you'll see some camping and hiking and whatnot. So that's one good option. You can always reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is the Nomadic Texan, TXN. And another good thing, I mean, what I did is I just did a ton of research. I just Googled and looked up, a ton of stuff online. I should have done more research in some areas, but just doing some research on gear, like different types of gear to use, best of season, and then looking at reviews on that gear. But I would start, you have the basics. So if you're car camping, you don't have to build a big car camper like I did. You can just lay the seats down in your car and get a good sleeping bag, a pillow, and just some of the basics. I would say, first aid is important, hydration is important, and warmth is important. So those are probably 3 top things to focus on to make sure you have. And then from that, just kind of start gathering stuff outside of there. I think Facebook Marketplace is a really good place to find gear as well. But yeah, just do research. I mean, like I said YouTube, and I still think YouTube is a really great source for a lot of it. Sometimes you do have to dig, but there's all kinds of people on there that go backpacking and show you their experiences, and there's people that are car camping on there. And
to clarify, when you were talking about finding events, you were referring to our local chapter events that we have wherever we have ambassadors around the country, which is great. If we don't have an ambassador in your area that's doing local events, our main Facebook group, which is, if you just search LGBT Outdoors in the groups, you can find it, but fb.com/groups/LGBT Outdoors, you'll come to it. It's a great resource too, to get connected to other people that are interested in the things that you want to do, and maybe be able to go with them on activities to be able to help get you broken into them. It's a great resource. So check that out as well. And check out our website. We have a lot of good information on there too, which is lgbtoutdoors.com.
We also have Outdoor Fest this fall, and I think I'm going to be doing a backpack session there. And I think there's some other good opportunities of learning some outdoor stuff there as well. So
you beat me to it. I was going to circle back around to that, but let's talk about that for a minute. LGBT Outdoor Fest is going to be in Texas this year. Last year it was in Colorado and sold out. This year it's going to be back in Texas at Rainbow Ranch in Groesbeck. It's going to be a camping event. We have a lot of great instructors that's going to be there. All 4 of us are going to be involved in different ways. I'm going to be doing a fishing workshop for beginners. JC, you're going to be doing an outdoor fitness workshop.
That's right. 80s theme. Girls just want to have fun. All the things.
I'm expecting people to dress up for that. That'd be great. Josh, you're going to be doing the backpacking, and Patrick is going to be doing some fun evening activities that I don't know if we want to dive into or if we want to leave that more for a surprise.
I'm excited about it. I think it's fun, but maybe we'll leave it as a surprise.
It's up to you.
That's okay. We'll let people wonder. Maybe we'll tease about it in a future episode.
Such a mystery.
All right. Registration for LGBT Outdoor Fest is on our website. Be sure to jump on it. The sooner the better, because price does go up throughout the year as we get closer and closer. But the dates are September 22nd through the 25th. And we're going to have an awesome time. So hope everybody can come out and check it out. Every year it gets bigger and better, and I hear more and more encouraging things after we get done. I can't believe we sold out of Colorado last year. Like,
same. When
we decided to take on Colorado, I was a little bit nervous, excited, but nervous.
A little bit.
And then
well, because it was, understandably, because it was the first time. We haven't done it. That was the first Colorado one.
It was the first Colorado one, and we booked the largest lodge at the YMCA base in Estes Park. So we had to put down a big deposit for that, and it worked out. It was incredible.
It was awesome.
The only thing I would change if I could with that is that Patrick would have been able to make it to that.
Me too.
I know. You were greatly missed.
Oh, you guys.
You were greatly missed. It was a great time.
I really wish I could have been there. I had a work thing that I needed to take instead of going to LGBT Outdoor Fest, Colorado. Now I horribly regret ditching my LGBT Outdoors family for this work thing that was really, really, really turning out to be a bad thing. But that's over. So yeah, but I plan on being at LGBT Outdoor Fest in Texas.
Now you know not to ditch LGBT Outdoor Fest for work.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
True. But if anybody wants to check out what that was like, we have the highlight video from that, from the Colorado LGBT Outdoor Fest on our homepage that you can check out. And then go register after checking it out. Patrick, JC, you have any other final thoughts, questions for Josh before we jump off?
Thoughts, yes. Questions, no. Josh was talking about kind of like how to get started and all that sort of stuff. But I might suggest adding to his list, if you are wanting to go down and camp in the Grand Canyon, make sure you have your camping situation all settled before you get down to the bottom.
100% suggest. Highly recommend.
But it's definitely it must have been a good learning experience. Also, the fact that a lot of these really beautiful places tend to be in like super remote areas where there's no signal, which in a way is a blessing because, you get to shut off you go off grid, but at the same time, if you need to pay a permit,
well, back on
it's inconvenient.
On that, back to gadgets, the first thing I bought as soon as I moved to Colorado was a Garmin locator, like the GPS device, and that's such a good peace of mind when not having cell service to know that you can contact emergency help if something was to happen.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Earlier in this conversation, you mentioned that you like to go out alone, and I absolutely see the value in that. But it does raise some safety concerns. But if you're prepared and you have a device that can reach out for help when needed, I think that's definitely a stronger option.
Yeah, 100%. Even All Trails has a pro option that has an SOS feature, and now the new iPhones have a SOS feature where the phones will bounce off a satellite. So technology is definitely coming around and getting better and making things safe. But obviously, know your surroundings, know where you're going, make sure family knows where you're at, and before you get out, if you're going to backpack, one of the biggest things to do is to make sure you write down on a piece of paper where your name, your phone, and where you're going and what time you left, the date and the time, and put it in the front window of your car, just so that if your car is there for a long period of time and someone sees it suspicious, they'll know, like, have an idea of that you're missing.
Nice. Somebody else we talked to, I think, recently mentioned doing something similar, but also taking a piece of aluminum foil and creating a boot impression of it and leaving that on your dashboard as well, so that they could use that to track footprints.
That's really smart. I've never heard of that.
Maybe that wasn't on the podcast.
I feel like I've heard of that too.
Heard that recently.
Yeah. No, it sounds...
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
But anyways, like, final thoughts for me. This kind of ties into what we were talking about before about, like, where to look for information. I think a great resource are the Facebook groups for each of the chapters. Like, if you're in Colorado, like, there's a Facebook group specifically for Colorado members. I've posted questions on there on some, like, gear related, like, information that I was looking into, and chances are there's someone who has that answer. So if you're not part of your Facebook group in your state, search for it, join, and post whatever questions that you have, because chances are there's someone in that group who already has gone through it and can give you good advice, not just with gear, but like with trails and anything. Because again, it's everyone from our LGBT outdoors community. So feel free to ask those questions there too.
Love it. Great information. Hey, Josh, tell everybody where they can find you once again on Instagram.
So it's the Nomadic Texan, TXN.
Go find Josh and give him a follow. If you have any questions, shoot him a DM. I know that he would love to hear from you and be glad to answer any questions that you might have as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again.
Yeah.
Until next time, get out there. Thank you again for joining us this week. If you have a campfire conversation story you would like to share, please email it to us at info@lgbtoutdoors.com. Follow us on Instagram at LGBT Outdoors and join the community at facebook.com/groups/LGBT Outdoors. Become a partner by joining our Patreon, where you'll gain access to monthly bonus stories and exclusive content. For more information on today's episode, check out the show notes. For information about LGBT Outdoors, LGBT Outdoor Fest, local chapters, or to sign up for our newsletter, visit lgbtoutdoors.com. And if you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and follow wherever you listen to podcasts.